Hi, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the SunDevilSource Postgame Show. I'm Ethan Tuttle, joined alongside Chris Cartman, and we're here at Desert Financial Arena following Arizona State's 82-70 win over the Utah Utes. For the Sun Devils, they're 3-0 in conference play, tied with Oregon atop the Pac-12 currently, and they move to 9-5 overall as Utah falls to 11-3. Chris, let's go ahead and get right into the analysis, as this one was a bit of a shocker for some Sun Devil fans. They came in just a 25% chance to win on Ken Palm. On the NCAA net rankings, they were 125th and Utah 18th. So can you just talk a little bit about the surprise of this win and kind of how they accomplished it?
We haven't seen ASU play wire to wire anywhere nearly as good as they did tonight on the offensive end in particular. Bobby Hurley said that. I think a lot of people in the gym were very surprised to see there was no lull, there was no drop off. ASU kind of just kept notching up its lead and had a insurmountable lead with like 4 minutes left or something like that. The ball movement, the spacing, the shot making, the unselfish play. There were just very few possessions where there was over dribbling and just kind of bad shots that were being fired up at the rim. And I think when they start strong like that and they get a good sense of how they should be playing, that carries them forward. This was a breakthrough. And really, if you think about it, they still didn't get good play from on the offensive end from some of their key players. Kamari Lands didn't really do much offensively. Jemiah Neal has pulled back a lot in terms of what they're needing to get from him offensively, but they're ramping up Sean Phillips. You know, he had some nice buckets as a guy that you can throw the ball to inside, but this was really Jose Perez, and he made 4 out of 5 threes, and he had a really good performance. And then, of course, Frankie Collins has had his best 2-game stretch of his career. Second half in particular was really brilliant, and you kind of put it all together, and you're looking at unquestionably some great momentum that's building for ASU.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Bobby Hurley, 3-0 with the Sun Devils for the first time since joining the program in conference play, and it's the 5th time they've gotten to 3-0 since joining the Pac-12. For Coach Bobby Hurley, just what did it take to kind of go up against a team with so much size as we were talking about? What did they have to do to combat that, and how did that play out down the stretch?
Well, so Utah's the tallest team in the country. They start 2 7-footers. Brandon Carlson is really great, probably the best center in the conference, or top 2. And you had to wonder, is ASU going to stick to a 4-guard lineup against this? And Jose Perez is out there 6'5" or whatever, matched up against a 7-footer, but he held his own. And the reality is it worked for the Sun Devils. Brian Salabange didn't play that much. You had not a lot of situations where you had on the court Alonzo Gaffney and Sean Phillips. You got Sean Phillips on a minute restriction coming back from the foot injury. He played only 11 minutes, 12 minutes in the Bay Area, 2 games. Played 16-ish minutes tonight in this game. So they're doing this without really being fully up to their where they want to be in terms of their front court, especially because Zane Meeks is out indefinitely. He's another 6'9" guy. And so that makes this even a little bit more impressive what they were able to accomplish in this game. And it bodes well for their future when they don't have great size, but they're getting really good rebounding from their guards. And in the first half, they gave up too many second chance opportunities to Utah. That was one of the things that kept Utah in the game. Second half, they didn't have that issue anywhere near as much. So that's another positive.
What does it do for ASU to have guys like Frankie Collins and Jemiah Neal out there, 3 steals apiece for them, 10 for the team tonight? What does that add to this ASU roster?
We've talked about it a lot. This is an ASU team that's not great shot making. They have to generate offense with their defense, deflections, steals, transition, buckets, and that was on display in this game. They did a very good job. They got their hands on loose balls. I remember one time you had Adam Miller go for diving for a ball that he wasn't able to come up with. Bobby Hurley ran over, picked him up himself. And Frankie Collins is a thief. He's one of the best steals artists. We call him Frankie Five Finger Collins. He's top 3 or 4 in the country. Had another good performance. Jemiah Neal is learning to stuff the stat sheet even when he's not getting a lot of shots. He's not over dribbling like I think was an issue earlier on in the season. Jose Perez catching the ball on inside out passes that let him shoot the ball. He's not a really great 3-point shooter, but they were very high percentage looks that he got at the basket. And Frankie Collins has the ability, when they're playing with this kind of floor spacing, to kind of sift his way into some spots and make some things happen. This was the 2 games that they've had now in a row, Ethan. we've rarely seen a Hurley team make that sort of an apparent strides at this time of year. They have maybe once or twice done it before. They had one year where they won 8 or 9 games in a row in February, and they really started to put something together. And we may be seeing this right now because, look, the Pac-12 is not very good. Arizona's at the top by far. After that, Utah and Colorado were kind of like neck and neck, but Colorado got drilled by Arizona tonight, had 2 of its best players not in the lineup. There's a really good opportunity here for ASU to go to 4-0 if they can pull a back-to-back off, and if Colorado doesn't have those players. And look, if you get confident and you start to feel like you can play with all these guys coalescing and being on the court together and learning about them. Remember, Perez, he was late to the party. He barely was with the team until almost the season started. And then you had, of course, Adam Miller not being able to play. And then you had the injury with Sean Phillips. So they are just figuring out how they need to function as a team, and they're putting their best play on the floor by far.
Jose Perez and Frankie Collins lit it up tonight, scored from all over the floor in a variety of ways. Just talk about that performance a little bit, and also just about what that means here as they continue to mold together, as you were talking about, kind of getting that figured out with the 5 on the floor.
They were very nonchalant about this when I asked them about it after the game, but the truth is that Jose Perez is a throwback, old school guy. He's a guard that wants to get the ball in the post or the mid post and go to work and space it out. And then you have Frankie Collins, who's more of a transition point guard, a ball handling, distributing type of a guard. And so for them to get on the same page and making sure that they're getting a good rhythm to what they're trying to do as they figure that out on the offensive end, it not easy. And tonight was the best that's looked by far. They both got plenty of opportunities to score the ball, set up others for opportunities to work well off of one another. And that's another thing, because also Adam Miller didn't need to take a whole bunch of shots or a bunch of dribbles. Jemiah Neal wasn't doing that. So guys are playing very unselfishly, which I think is one of the hallmarks as an indicator of what is going to be required for this team to continue this streak.
We'll see how it continues, and we'll have all the coverage here at SunDevilSource. That's going to do it for this edition of the SunDevilSource Postgame Show, though. Chris, thank you so much, and thank you to the viewers as well for tuning in. 82-70 the final here from DFA. We'll see you next time.